I don't think the people who voted to get inflation down and lower grocery prices voted for a pardon of Derek Chauvin. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. The far right is waging a campaign to get Derek Chauvin pardoned. Now, Derek Chauvin was the police officer seen in a video that went viral during the COVID-19 pandemic, putting his knee on the neck of George Floyd that led to his murder. And after the murder of George Floyd, this is where people basically started to turn up in the street. And as they turned up in the street during the pandemic, literally tore this country apart. And as a result of those riots that took place as related to George Floyd's murder, eventually the police were forced to arrest and charge Derek Chauvin for the murder we all saw transpire on screen in front of us, and him and his accomplices were tried for those crimes. And Derek Chauvin was not only convicted in state court of these crimes of first-degree murder, but he was also convicted in federal court of violating the civil rights of George Floyd. And even though we see the facts in front of us as related to the case of George Floyd, white supremacists want to go out here and try to get George Floyd pardoned. This is what a conservative media personality, Ben Shapiro, is looking to persuade Donald Trump to do. And according to some reports, Elon Musk wants to support this whole idea of pardoning George Floyd for all of these state and federal crimes that he was convicted of and charges that he basically pled guilty to in federal court. Now, if Ben Shapiro is successful in his campaign, this would basically be the start of the beginning of the end of the Trump presidency, because it would basically alienate most of the base of Trump supporters, because the murder of George Floyd, this was a thing that basically set the entire country off. And if George Floyd were to be pardoned, it would basically explode this country just like it did back in 2020, because this interpretation of law by this president would be seen as basically him betraying the courts and betraying we the people. And this is basically where these far-right individuals will go too far, because what many of these far-right types like Ben Shapiro want to believe is that since Trump basically won most of the votes all across the country in the electoral and the popular vote, is that they have a mandate for their far-right agenda. And this is the same backwards notion that Joe Biden had back in 2020. Both of them are, again, so polarized they can't see that they're basically taking the country in a bad direction. Joe Biden for 4 years took us too far to the left, and it's looking like Donald Trump and his people are trying to take the country too far to the right. Now, Donald Trump has already pardoned many individuals in the January 6th riots, including individuals who were convicted of sedition, and that's basically got a lot of people upset, and more people are getting upset regarding him and his campaign to go after government workers. And this escalation would be the thing that would basically set off a powder keg that has been tamping down very slowly as related to the politics of this country, because Derek Chauvin was basically seen on screen of the world in viral videos, again, putting his knee on the neck of George Floyd and preventing him from breathing in that arrest that over a so-called counterfeit $20 bill. And many people, again, saw that injustice in front of us. And as we saw that injustice, this is what led to people taking to the streets. And again, this is basically a complete state of injustice with Derek Chauvin. Again, Derek Chauvin, and saying that he was deserving of a pardon, basically would show that Donald Trump isn't a president who's out to preserve the Constitution, but out to preserve white supremacy. And that's what would be being preserved with Derek Chauvin would be getting a pardon. What would be being preserved is the whole concept of white supremacy as the law of the land, in that this would be a white man who would be given a pardon because he's white and he says so, even in spite of the evidence presented to us. Because when it comes down to many of these white supremacists, they want to go out here and try to revise history and use their white influence to say that we say George Floyd didn't die as related to being murdered by Derek Chauvin, which we all saw with our own eyes. No, what you saw basically was a man who, according to their whole revised history, was someone who was overdosing on fentanyl. And as he was overdosing on fentanyl, this is what they said is what they want you to say is the actual story. This is what the white supremacist wants you to believe is the actual story, because in the days of Jim Crow, this is what they used to do to black people all the time. Many of these white supremacists would go out here and commit heinous crimes against black people, such as the terrorism of burning down their homes, burning down their stores, shooting and killing black people, and then say that, oh, it was an accident, and black people, because we were not in a place where we could take power, we basically went along with this. That's what these racists want to take us back to. They want to take us back to that time of the days of Jim Crow, where a white man could go out here and commit heinous crimes and basically be able to get away with them because he was white and he said so. That's what a pardon of Derek Chauvin would basically set as the law of the land, no different than what happened with Bill Cosby, with the Me Too movement, with that conviction that they got against him for a sex crime that did not happen. What these white extremists want to do is take us back to that, what they believe to be golden age, where a white man or a white woman could basically tell a lie and have it be said as the truth, and basically go out here and create their own distorted reality, where they basically make up their own facts. That's what they want to do, but that whole idea would basically, again, blow this country apart, blow this country completely apart, because people of today are not going to tolerate that type of America, and that type of America in and of itself would not really work today, because when it comes down to that whole concept of America, that whole era, again, has undermined America's ability to progress and make America great, because as these racists basically want to go out here and oppress black people, they basically are undermining the nation's ability to compete. And that's something that they cannot be allowed to do, because when it comes down to these individuals like your Ben Shapiro's and even possibly your Elon Musk's, they want to go out here and take us back to a period that the world has basically moved on from, and a period that basically is, again, undermining this entire country's ability to be competitive all around. Now, these individuals who come up with this idea, again, this is why the far right is showing us how dangerous they are. Now, when it comes to this far right, I'm seeing from this whole Trump White House is imploding as we speak, because it's not an administration running on an agenda based on facts, an agenda based on logic, an agenda based on reason. No, it's an agenda based on emotion. Moreover, all of that emotion is basically rooted in a whole lot of fears that have been rooted up in conspiracy theories and misinformation, conspiracy theories about the work of government workers, conspiracy theories about January 6th, conspiracy theories about Derek Chauvin, and conspiracy theories that basically have been completely disproven. These conspiracy theories, again, are the foundation of this whole presidential platform, and these individuals like Ben Shapiro want to push this type of campaign on their sites like the Daily Wire and campaigns again for Derek Chauvin. And basically, if the Republican Party continues to support these type of far-right individuals, their whole platform may crash and burn, similar to the way Joe Biden's far-left platform completely crashed and burned, because Joe Biden basically was disconnected from most of the American people. And as he was disconnected from the American people, he began pushing that far left agenda, which put all of these dysfunctional ideas to the forefront. And it's looking to me like the Trump campaign is going in a similar extreme, looking to appease those on the far right who present speculation and conspiracy theories as fact. And if this whole campaign to pardon Derek Chauvin is taken seriously, it could derail the Republican Party, similar to the way the Democrats got derailed when they went out here and didn't listen to we the people. No, what happened with the Democrats is they didn't listen to we the people, looking to appease what people call the far left or woke individuals. And those woke individuals, again, went out here presenting their dysfunctional ideas, and now it's looking like those on the far right are looking to push similar dysfunctional ideas and looking to push those dysfunctional ideas to be made into law. And as they look to push these ideas into being made into law and push interpretations of law that basically promote white supremacy, this could be, again, the thing that alienates the voting bloc to not only go out here and think about and ending the Red Party's whole majority in 2026, but could also lead to people taking to the streets and taking to the streets because the entire country right now is divided. The country right now is in a very fragile place, and the pardon of Derek Chauvin could explode this country the same way George Floyd's murder exploded this country, because it's at that point that people would realize that these politicians are going too far, because basically what led to the George Floyd riots was the extremes that both sides were taking, the left and the right, as they looked to take advantage of this pandemic to gain political advantage. And as they look to take advantage of this pandemic to get political advantage, they instituted these lockdowns, which basically created a powder keg. And as they implemented them, I remember back in March 2020 saying to myself, if a black man winds up getting killed as a result of these lockdowns, what would happen is that this country would explode. And I said this in March of 2020 to myself, and sadly, what I said basically came true, and the country basically, again, is setting itself up for another powder keg that could explode, because you've got a president basically going to extremes, attacking the American people, similar to the way people like Gretchen Whitmer were attacking the American people with extreme restrictions to the point where they couldn't get at things like Easter eggs at Target because they were banned from buying them, and people basically again looking to put more and more COVID restrictions, and that basically again tamped down a powder keg that exploded with George Floyd's murder. And right now the Red Party basically is creating a powder keg by laying off government workers, and Elon Musk basically again attacking government workers, which is an attack on the American people from a foreign individual. And that's basically creating a powder keg where the far right is again looking to create again a stick of dynamite that may explode. It may explode because again a pardon of Derek Chauvin may be the thing that wakes up many black people who stayed on the couch, and as they stayed on the couch, see this as a threat to them. And again, it was black voters who stayed home that got Trump elected, but this whole situation would create a powder keg. And again, this is not something that's very smart. again, these far-right types, again, they think they have a mandate, but the whole thing is their mandate may be their own undoing, because they're not serving the American people, they're serving their own far-right agenda. And again, that goes beyond Project 2025 that some conspiracy theorists speculated. And the big problem with the far right is, again, they have a foundation based on conspiracy theories and misinformation, and that misinformation has them trying to rewrite history, and again, rewrite history to create an atomic bomb that could split this country apart, because Derek Chauvin, again, was admitted and again pled guilty to this crime, was convicted of this crime, was shown on video committing this crime, and this guy basically, again, if you were to release him, you would basically be participating in releasing Barabbas, and again, basically being the person who would again show that this whole party that says that it's Christian is living in sin, a party that isn't about making America great, but a party that would basically lead to its own downfall, because this, while they want to say, oh, his conviction was woke, no, it wasn't woke, it was fact, and again, factual history that is reality. And again, this would show how just deranged the far right is as the far left actually is, and how polarized both sides are. This would be, again, an atomic bomb as related to America, and possibly could lead to, again, the entire Trump presidency, which is already imploding as we speak, basically go into a complete collapse, and instead of making America great, basically hold a mirror up to America and show us the racists in this country and who they truly are. Now, if you want to support the channel, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, PayPal, or Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my books, you can find them on Amazon.com and other online booksellers. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, All About Nikki, a fabulous first season. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meets Clueless in this absolutely fabulous African-American 1990s teen sitcom. Get all 13 episodes of All About Nikki, the fabulous first season, in paperback and e-readers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.